second here. All right, we're gonna do this. And there we go. I think we're on the air.
I think so. It says we're live.
Meeting is now streaming live on Twitch. Ladies and
Yay.
gentlemen, welcome to episode 993 of Just Joshing. I'm almost at 1,000. Can you believe it? I can't. Yeah. I'm with Brandie June and her parakeet.
Yes, this is
Oh,
Puck.
hold on a second here. I gotta mute my. The only problem with Zoom. This is the only problem I really have with
The
Zoom.
only problem.
No, well, no. For this particular kind of conversation, not my issues with Zoom altogether, because I'm in Zoom, so I'd be a hypocritic asshole right this very minute. But it's the when it goes to Twitch, like Zoom and Twitch are not designed to play well together. Restream,
Oh.
they're not designed to play well together. Initially, it used to be a bitch to actually put it on Twitch through Zoom. It could be
Oh.
done, but it
Yeah,
was
you'd think you'd want to streamline that.
yeah, well, they did. They did streamline it a little bit, but there's still a few little bugs. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's like a big brother and like a brother that's like 6 or 7 years younger, right? They don't naturally get along because there's just too much of a gap in age. At least at the younger age, as they get a little older and wiser together, there's a little
Oh
bit more
yeah.
to talk about, but there's still those little bits of difference, right?
That
And
5 years
that's
difference doesn't mean nearly as much in your 30s as it does in your teens.
No, it means absolutely nothing once, and I'm 40s, but it means even less at this particular point in the ball game. It's like, really, all I care about, are you an adult that can think for yourself? I really don't care how old you are. So that's just me, right? So, but I say it like that. So as we start here, we were actually talking about rights and how complex they are becoming,
Yes.
right? How complex they are becoming in this industry, and I'm not gonna talk about my. I just came from a writing conference. We're having some good news, and so I'll tell you where this kind of like when I was in San Diego with you and I met you.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up getting drunk. I sound like an alcoholic, but I'm really not. This has just been two
You sound like a
times.
writer. I mean, no.
Yeah, yeah, I do. But this wasn't like I. This is I normally when I'm not. I don't like this. This is as addicting as it gets. It's coffee, right? But a buddy of mine was a buddy of mine was in San Diego, right? Like he's a decent friend of mine. I met him in Ottawa. I did a convention there,
You get
and we
all over
ended
the
up.
place. I love it.
I, I, yeah, no, I love traveling. It's a big part of I didn't travel. I traveled more during the COVID era than I think more people did. I moved a lot during the COVID era, but the thing is, like traveling in general was such a pain in the ass that it wasn't, regardless of whatever my proclivities were, it wasn't worth it. It just
I'm
wasn't worth, not at
getting
least by
back into
plan.
travel.
Yeah, but now that it's by and large done ish,
Mm-hmm.
shrug, done ish, shrug. I just think we just don't give a shit anymore. Like that's just my honest
I,
opinion.
I feel at
Opinion.
this point I've done all the vaccines and will continue to do whatever vaccines are recommended, and beyond that, you just kind of gotta
Yeah, I'm more
live
of a,
life.
you know what, at this point, at this particular point in the ball game, if it's gonna kill me, I'm not gonna care. I'm just at that point where it's like I'm gonna die of something, and well, so I have this theory. Like normally during like the pandemic was very traumatic for all of us for
Yeah.
various reasons, right? But when the trauma's done, so there's two things. Fear dies. A fear based move, like any kind of like emotional like based movement, fades after 2 years. You just become more immune to
Yeah. And I get used to
it's not
what the
even just
situation is.
it's not even just to get used to. You just get tired. Like there just comes a point where you're like from a
Yeah, I feel that.
yeah, you get tired and you're just like, I don't want to do this. So we're long into the I don't give a shit phase anymore. But what happens is after PTSD, like a major PTSD event like that, so the audience goes kind of into three groups. There's 10% that keep the hold on to the trauma, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not, and I know that medically there's different reasons why people wear masks, but some people are also wearing masks because it still makes them feel comfortable, among other, right? There's still that element to it. So they're in that 10%. 80% go back to normal, whatever that was prior to it. And then there's the
Mhm.
other 10% that get bolder. I'm probably in that
In
10%.
that 10%.
Yeah, because it's just like I'm still here. I have no guarantees for tomorrow. Fuck it. And that's just pretty much that is
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe I'm a little lower than that, more in the like,
the
I'm
80
trying to take
no
the
no there's nothing
reasonable
wrong.
precautions,
Yeah.
but beyond that, living life.
Look, I'm more. Hey, listen, again, I am in intention. I don't. There's not much in this world that like I have fears, but there's really not that much that scares me. I'm very. I am not afraid to go into the unknown. It's just I'm just wired that way. I don't expect everybody else to be wired to be wired that way.
Everyone else.
It's not,
So
I
you're not the was it the you're not the lemming leading everyone off the cliff
No, I'm not
from the
necessarily
movie.
no. I'm more the lemming watching everybody go one way. I'm going to go the other.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
so right. I'm more.
You're like that way doesn't look so great.
No, but I'm gonna do it my way. Now that doesn't necessarily mean my way is the best way all the time, right? It just means this is what makes sense to me, right? And that's it,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
Sometimes I'm
I feel like
right.
most of us are doing the best we can.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I just tend to be a little bit more of that. The fruit from the farthest branch or the best fruit. I tend to want to go for all those farthest branches. I mean, I think I'm more inclined to be a gambler,
Hmm.
right? Than say someone that's a lot of people. I'm not again. This is not a knock
Yeah.
to anybody. It's just this is just who I
So
am.
it's different personalities. I'm less of a gambler because I want to make sure I get like full value for my money.
No, I got you. And for me, it's like sometimes I'm gonna strike
Hmm.
out, and sometimes I'm really gonna hit, and more often than not, it balances out. But it like that's that. But I have more capacity for highs and then lows, right? It's just and again, you have to
Hmm.
accept. You have to accept like every no matter what mindset or personality you have. There's great things about it. There's bad things about it. It's about what you can live with, right?
Yeah, I'm currently drafting a manuscript that deals a lot with mental health, but in a fantasy setting. And
Yeah,
so it's interesting to, kind of explore, a lot of things that until recently have been, much more stigmatized.
I so I'm kind of how do I put this? No, I definitely think mental health's a big thing. Um, I do have a kind of a hard and fast rule. Maybe it's not completely fair. If you have mental health issues and I'm working with you, please tell me beforehand. It's
Oh, well,
much
you didn't
easier.
ask.
Yeah, no, I do. Sometimes I do, but sometimes
Ah,
I just please like if you have something because if something happens and you tell me afterwards, right? It doesn't.
hmm.
I'm much more forgiving up front than I am behind. It's just that's just the right
Well,
because
then you have to build up all the trust up front too, because, somebody's dealt with mental health issues, there can be a lot of stigma, so you need to feel safe to
yo,
tell that person first. Because I spent decades trying to just hide everything.
yeah. I just rather know what I'm getting into up front because it
Hmm.
just that way it's just like and this is just again personality it's personality right thing it because for me I could say like my least favorite habit that sometimes people do is ghosting like they just ghost you right now if I know
Yeah.
you have anxiety up front like some kind of anxiety up front
Hmm.
eventually my empathy will go to zero eventually if you do it enough times but every once in a while I'll understand like that's an anxiety issue right but if you just ghost
Hmm.
me and you ghost me and you ghost me and then you tell me way after the fact that you have anxiety there's gonna be a little part of me that's wondering do you have it right right or because I'm
Hmm.
the one still getting ghosted at the end of the day right so right that's the thing like but I do think like here's what I think. Like people know what their issues are. It's okay, and all of us have vulnerabilities. I'm just going to say it like that. We all have our own
Hmm.
vulnerabilities, and we have to be honest with what they are, and we have to, and it's okay. There are people do great things no matter what they may or may not have to deal with. In fact,
Hmm.
sometimes it's even more admirable because of what you've dealt with.
Yeah, I think communication is definitely has been key that I've found too with, my relationships of,
Yeah,
both with the issues I have as well as those that the people
yeah,
I'm close to have, and
yeah.
being able to communicate who needs what when uh, has been very helpful.
Yeah, but like I said, that like, again, this might be just again. I'm just saying this might be just me, but that's the other thing. Like I said, I just yeah, I'm very much time conscious, right? That's just how I see it. But if you
Hmm.
tell me, it's like cool, we'll figure it out, right? That's just me, right? So we were anyway. Anyway, no, let's see. San Diego
San
drinking,
Diego,
right? Drinking with an author buddy,
rights,
all right, author with buddy,
publishing
and
rights.
yeah, it's been publishing rights. And so anyway, I meet their agent as well.
Hmm.
Just me. I wasn't trying like I've learned this. I get more just by being someone's I don't if you go in there being just talk a human being, you get a lot more out of it.
Hmm.
So I was listening to both of them talk. And one of the things and one of the things the agent was looking at was Kickstarter. Because
Mm,
it's
really?
become it's oh no, it's again, no names mentioned, nothing like I'm not gonna go into great details, but and I had this and I got this feeling too because I attended the YA like well, I'm a big YA guy. I love YA.
Same. That's it, my debut novel is YA.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, I love YA. But I was watching the YA panel with Victoria Aveyard. I like there's some of the writers up there,
Hmm.
I also but I kind of got this weird little feeling, and this is just maybe like when I was watching this, there was like an epiphany, kind of watching this, because I also went to the Kickstarter panel too and was watching what they were doing, and it was just like I think I think there might be a bit of a blockbuster video thing happening here. I could be wrong, right? But because one of the things I'm realizing, like as I get older slash wiser slash something, we'll say something. Well, older, it's like
Older
older and
slash
something.
wiser slash something. I like that. That's a good
Yeah,
mix.
yeah, it's a good mix.
It's a good mix.
Publishing's becoming a lot more inclusive in the sense that you need more people to be involved in seeing a project reach the door, and I think that's really, I think, and I'm looking at like, and I think that's one of the big effects Kickstarter has had on it. So I'm looking at that and going, okay, well, that is the ultimate platform to reach a very specific kind of audience.
Hmm.
It's a very specific kind of audience, but it's a very big part of the audience in publishing right now, whether people realize it or not.
So
And it's
interesting.
like, yeah. Well, okay, in comics,
Yeah.
it's like undoubtedly it is the biggest
Oh,
publisher.
I just pledged to the let's see, I saw Boom Studios doing a Labyrinth graphic novel, and I don't know, it might have been Boom. Another one's doing Good Omens graphic novel, and like
Yeah,
immediately I was in.
it is killing me because I can't back the good. I'm a big Colleen Doran fan. I love her work. She's doing the Good Omens, and it's killing me a little inside that I can't back it. I can't. I just came back from San Diego and I did another
Oh, that's right.
conference.
You've been doing all this travel and
Yeah, so I have so I've done the
mhm.
fun. I have to pay the price a little bit right now. Also, I'm in Canada, so you're laughing at my money. I'm laughing at my money, but we're coming from two different points of view.
Well,
You are
seriously, you should have backed the Good Omens graphic novel while you were in the US, clearly. So then you could have used US dollars.
no. I wish.
That's not how
I
it
wish. I
works.
wish that was how it worked. Like I said, you laughed at my money situation slightly out of pity, and I laughed slightly out of despair because my money
Uh,
is that terrible.
See,
Anyway,
I was supporting my husband for the better part of almost 15 years because he had a lot of brain trauma from rugby. And so recently we
ooh,
found a new medication that actually helps, and he now just this year got a job. And so I'm like, oh
rugby's
my
a tough.
god,
Uh, Rugby's a tough sport.
oh yeah, they don't wear helmets and they get their brains bashed a lot.
Oh, they might be the toughest Okay, so there's only two athletes I would put in their weight class in terms of toughness overall.
Hmm.
MMA fighters.
He did some MMA too, actually. It's
Yeah,
how
MMA.
he busted his knee doing that.
Yeah, no, MMA fighters. I have a buddy of mine. He does MMA. So, like, he did MMA. He's actually trying to get into pro wrestling right now. He's doing it
Oof.
at right. No, like, dude, no, the dude's a tough guy. Like,
I'm sure he is. I have so much personal experience with the sports related injuries and
yeah, I know. It's just like
so I always cringe with all contact sports.
yeah, professional wrestling does have the advantage of you do have some say. I mean,
Yeah,
the
it's
kill
not as intense as MMA, I would imagine, but it's still a lot of stuff.
per match, it's not right. If you compare 1 to 1,
Hmm.
the big difference between MMA and pro wrestling is pro wrestlers often will do it several times in a week.
That's a lot. And what I've discovered too, because we've done a lot of research into, like concussions and sports related concussions, is that it's also not just the big hits, the big ones that knock you out and you're unconscious, but even just small ones, the fact that they're so repetitive
It's
does a lot
not.
of damage.
George Foreman said it best. It's the hardest punches he ever took were the ones he never felt. He's right because
Hmm.
that's because and he knows like and a fighter knows it. Like a fighter knows it. A rugby player knows it. But I didn't tell you who I considered the other one. I was in that weight
Oh, wait, let
class.
me guess. Let me guess. Ping pong player, competitive ping pong player.
Bad at no ballet.
Yeah, I could see that.
Ballet. Hockey's up there
Hockey's
too.
tough too, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
ballet, especially if you get to the point where you're on point, that's
yeah.
hardcore.
Oh
My
no, listen. I'd rather fight a boxer than a ballerina. Right, I'd rather fight a boxer than a ballerina.
we always see like those sports was it sports movies? I don't know, maybe it was the Mighty Ducks. Whatever sports movies where the whole sports team then had to like take ballet to help them learn like
Yeah.
balance and so
No,
forth.
well, no, they're just it's incredible. Like they left their whole body, some of them on their toes. Like seriously,
I've
you
watched
don't.
a lot of ballet and it's
Yeah,
intense.
you don't think it's tough until you really look at what they're doing, and you're like,
You know what else takes a lot of strength? And you have to withstand a lot of bruising. I used to. I'd love to get back into it. I did a lot of aerial arts and pole dancing.
yeah,
I actually won a pole dance competition in the
nice,
entertainment category. But yeah, like the way that they, the kind of flips and inversions, and you're holding yourself up with like your skin and hope. It's
yeah,
like the most upper body strength I ever had was when I was, in the middle of that. And
yeah.
unfortunately, I have a shoulder injury, which makes it hard to get back in. But um,
Well, I'm sure there are ways to work around those limitations too a little bit as well.
mhm.
So, but I mean, I hope you get the chance. But
Yeah,
yeah, like we're Desert DVing. We'll try to
we
go back to
are.
so no, that's what the show does, though. I mean, I don't know if you listen to it at all. If you have, I go all over the place. So, um, but what the thing is, right? I'm just like publishing is becoming so much more about not a publishing house necessarily giving you buying your book, taking all the rights and taking care of you anymore, right?
Hmm.
It's about okay, what's as you we mentioned very briefly, what's the best fit for my book,
Exactly.
right? If you're a romance author, I don't know if you ever want to go to a traditional publishing house.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what kind of romance, and it also depends on how much marketing you're willing to do.
Absolutely.
And admittedly, my two books are traditionally published, but I also did a lot of marketing work for them.
Oh,
A
absolutely.
lot of traditional published authors I know do a lot of marketing. Um,
I realized like to me what traditional like the big five especially are corporate. Most of those people that are there are executives, and I'm talking even just people writing these books are executives, lawyers, people with a huge business background putting these books out there because it's a potentially big business, but you gotta work. work your ass off, and a lot. And I think the
Mhm.
reason why these big publishing houses are leaning towards those particular lines of work is because those authors understand the real grind of, I got to be out there, I got to be impressionable, I got to
Yeah,
be willing to make.
I have my MBA in entertainment marketing,
Hmm.
and that is, what I do. A marketing director, is my what I do during the day, and a lot of that came in very handy when my books were going to come out. And even knowing all that, I still wanted to work with a publisher to have the extra support of,
Hmm.
them handling the distribution channels, them handling, you know, the art, the copy edits, the they did a bunch of stuff. I published with an indie publisher that's newer but growing quite quickly, um, and really enjoyed the process. But even with all that they were doing, I was also
You
reaching
have to.
out. I was doing events. I was doing signings. I was posting socially, et cetera, et cetera.
Do you want to hear how I accidentally got traditionally published?
Sure,
I accidentally wrote a book and accidentally got it published. What I mean by that, so this is back in 20. No, it sounds funny, but it's true.
it does. There's so many people who are like, I've tried so hard. I fell into it. Kind of
No,
happened.
no, it legitimately did. So it was
Spent
two.
years getting rejected. I had to write multiple books. Yes, tell me how you
I got all
accidentally
that
did
stuff
it.
too, but this was one of those. This is one of those life works out better than you could have hoped for kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So I started. I want to get back. I wanted to do like I did a poetry collection back in 2005, like way back in the day. And I this is when I was living in Phoenix, and I was using it. I learned how to sell with that book actually, which is kind of cool, right?
That's
That's how.
important.
Yeah, no, I
So
used
that's
so
important skill.
Yeah, Phoenix had an event called First Friday, so I'm being put beside like rock concerts and people with like the most beautiful works of art you've ever seen. All I had was my big mouth, so I had to learn how to do it, or else I never would have sold a thing. So what ended up happening was I wanted. So a few years passed. I had gone through some major upheavals. And I was like, I'm going to go back into this. Initially, like I did the first time, a small thing of poetry, but I wanted to write some longer poems. So I read this one about this slave boy in a compound where his family is being slayed by dragons. He's looking on the horizon and wondering what's out there. And I'm like, I really like this. Where does this go? So he kills his dragon master in chapter two, right? What would become chapter two is like, and goes off into the wilderness. And then chapter three is dealing with his first night, dealing with the fact that he's killed something and he's alone. Then chapter three became chapter four, 14. And I realized that this
This
was
is a
it.
book. This is
This
not
is a
just a
book.
poem.
Well, it is a poem, but it's also a book.
Right.
And so I end up going to a comic shop, and this is one of those like fate things. Someone I worked at a Kinko's with way back in my days in First time I was in Calgary, is now
Mm-hmm.
in comics. Did a comic, and
Oh,
she's an amazing. And I've said this many times, folks. Florence Chan is one of the most professional people I've ever worked with. I am grateful I had that chance. I hope I get to do something else with her someday. She really just killed it. I asked her to do some drawings, and she did the cover.
oh, fantastic.
No, it's just she was incredible. Anyway, my master plan. This was my master plan. Publish it on Smashwords. Print copies out to sell for conventions. That was my master plan.
So is
So
this a graphic novel in verse, or was
it's it.
this?
I would say I would. That's yes, but not like a comic. But um, have you ever seen anything by James A. Owen? Where he does
No.
like written works, but he has illustrations here and there throughout the books.
Okay, I've seen
Yeah, that's
similar
the
styles. Yeah.
yeah. So that's what I did here.
Cool.
So anyway, I put it on Smashwords.
Mm-hmm.
Someone I had been interviewing people for over 20 years, right? But I did it for blog before the podcast. I did it for blogs and other places. So one of the persons I interviewed bought it, and she goes to me, "I really like this. What are you gonna do with it?" I told her what I told you. She goes to me, "Well, I'm starting a publishing house. I got to deal with Ingram Spark. I'll publish your book."
Okay.
That's how it happened. Like
Wow. What publisher?
Mirror
Or
World Publishing, based out of Windsor, Ontario, Canada, and the book is called
very
The
cool.
Watcher. Yeah, I'll
Very
send you.
cool.
Yeah, and it's poetry too, which is even like how do I put this? Which is even harder to do,
Mhm.
right? So some people look at me. Some people are looking at me going, "I hate you so much," right? Or just put that here,
So the whole thing, so is the whole thing in verse then?
yeah, yeah, all of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I did 3 books with that, like a trilogy with that, and then my current trilogy, it was the same kind, similar style, different story. I mashed up Alice in Wonderland and Greek mythology.
Ooh, I love mythology and fairy tales and retellings.
So I'll give you. So mine, this happened because I was asked to do this. So again, everything leads somewhere, right? These books. So an editor, a poetry editor, liked them. Goes to me. I'm doing a Lewis Carroll anthology. I'm inviting you to submit to it. Okay.
Nice.
So it's like, what the fuck do I say about Lewis Carroll that hasn't been said before? That night I go to a bar, and there's a girl with a Gorgon tattoo. She's really cute. I go to flirt and hit on her. She plays for the other team. We're actually friends. Like it didn't work out all bad, but it's just like
Mhm.
right. So she plays for the right. So that happens. She's got Medusa's like I can put Medusa into a Lewis Carroll story, couldn't I? And then I had an epiphany, and this was the epiphany. Alice and Pandora are the same story.
Okay.
Do you see it?
Kinda. I could kind of see that.
Pandora's curiosity leads her to open the box. Alice's
Mhm.
curiosity leads
She
her to
leads
fall
her
down
down the rabbit
the
hole.
rabbit
Oh, I
hole.
like that. I
Right?
like the
That's what
mashup
they have in
there.
common. It's the same story.
Mhm.
So
I like
mine,
that
Alice,
mashup.
yeah. So I mashed it. So I made Alice Pandora. She opens the box, but this time she gets the Cheshire Cat inside her head.
Ooh, nice.
That's
I'm working on a Wonderland, a story set in Wonderland is something that I'm been working
cool.
on, and
Yeah, that
there's
this
so
is
much
this
room to play.
there is there no there really is. But I figured for me, the story I'm telling here is it's a journey of Alice getting back out of the rabbit hole. I think that's
Mhm.
much more interesting,
Then
right? Than
falling
her,
into it.
yeah, because we all know that story. I mean, even Carol, as much as anyone that's ever read Alice in Wonderland, like she doesn't really she gets out kind of on her own whim. But what if she had to fight her, like make it like that's where the Greek tragedy thing comes in.
Yeah, kind of more Odysseus, the
Yeah,
journey home
yeah. So the first full book, I had her play croquet against Jason of the Argonauts in the underworld. In the underworld,
in the underworld. Okay,
yeah, an abandoned Greek underworld.
nice.
Because Jason is actually, in my opinion, a great villain.
Mhm. Yeah, I definitely can see that.
Yeah, he's a great villain because really the only reason he's a hero is that he wins.
Mhm.
That's the only reason. His most
He's
heroic
not a
thing.
good guy.
No, he's not.
Definitely not a good
The
guy.
only time he's a decent human being is the very beginning of his journey when he actually went and married somebody, had some kids and a family,
And then
right?
abandon them.
Yeah, that's the thing. And once he did that, like that's the story.
Mhm.
Right, he abandoned them, and then once he did that, he just went down this dark road, like
I
dark.
mean, I'm not saying I condone what Medea did, but
I
get it.
can't. No. See, I don't. I see. I don't think Medea is a good one either. I
I
kind
didn't
of
say I condone what she did, but
no, but I
a
also
bit
kind
of
of feel
empathy.
like honestly, no, honestly, see, I have a lot more empathy for Medusa. Medusa was damned if she did, damned if she didn't.
Yeah.
That's just the reality there, right? Either Poseidon was gonna curse her, or I am not fully awake, so I'm dreaming. Artemis. It's Artemis. It was either Artemis was gonna mess with her, or Poseidon was gonna mess with her. She kind of was caught between a rock and a
I
hard
mean,
place.
almost any interactions with the Greek gods generally does not end well for people.
No, it doesn't. But basically, Poseidon goes sleep with me because you're beautiful, and what she's gonna do? Say no to the god of the sea? Like, I mean, even historically, if somebody's the king, I'm the king. Sleep with me. You're sleeping with the king. That
Yeah,
just
was it the first right or the king's right or
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like that's just the way it is. Hell, that was Solomon in the Bible's big date mood.
mhm.
I'm the king, and you're like,
Yeah.
he kind of got it from his dad, but I mean, still, um,
I
Yeah.
I wrote a play based on the Psyche Aerosmith,
Hmm.
because that's like the one Greek myth of a god falling in love with a human that actually ends happily.
Yes.
And it's the woman who goes on the quest. So I was really, I let, that's one of my favorite myths and
My favorite one in Greek
in Greek
is
mythology to be.
my favorite one is still Hercules. Hercules because it's an interesting. He feels like a man,
Hmm.
like the whole way through. Whether you like him or hate him at the end, he feels the most human of all the Greek heroes. Right?
So how do you like the Disney version?
Meh.
Yeah, yeah,
It
that's fair.
wasn't. It wasn't terrible.
It wasn't terrible.
But it wasn't terrible. But it wasn't. Like I actually did enjoy Woods' take on Ares. That was fun.
Hmm.
Like that was fun. That part was really
I
enjoyable.
mean, I like Hades.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
don't,
Like
I
that
don't
was
think
them.
he's as, I don't care so much about accuracy, but he was just a fun character to watch.
No. Hades was silly. Hades was. That's what I'm thinking of. Again, I'm not all here today, folks. I did a writers conference. I mean, I
I know.
recovered enough. I recovered enough to actually do this. I made sure of it. I did nothing else today. Because otherwise I would have been like, Randy, I'm not all there. I'm sorry.
Well,
Yeah, I'm never all there at the
you
best of
just talk to
times.
Puck for an hour. Sometimes he
That's right.
says he's a pretty bird.
Hey, that's
And then
nice.
I feel the need to, confirm it and be like, yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
I want him to have very positive self-esteem.
Basically, he's the rock star, and you're just living in his world.
Basically, yeah.
Okay,
It's Puck's world. We just live in it.
we all live in it. Okay, that's almost clippable. That's actually almost clippable. So yeah. So we haven't really talked about.
It's a
So you,
parakeet's world.
it's a parakeet's world or something like that. I don't know. Actually, I'll tell you what the big highlight of my conference this weekend.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I
So,
miss
so
writing conferences.
yeah. So here's my highlight. I did panic on the freelance mindset. I closed it by making everybody sing "Carry On, Wayward Son."
Nice. They'll open up their phone lighters
I wasn't that cool, but yeah, it
next time.
was next time. Yeah, which will probably be at least 2 years down the pike.
Is that conference every 2 years or
No,
is that?
no, I'm not gonna know. It's every year. It's every
Oh, okay.
first week of. It's every normally it's every second week of August.
Uh-huh.
This
Wait.
year was every first. This year was the
Okay.
first. But I mean, it's every second week usually. Um, so I'm gonna say something about the conference to everybody here. So I had I came from that conference. A lot of my career is a result of that conference. It's why I went this year specifically because it's the last that group that was running it. I was there last year. They're transferring to a new group for next year. But I'm gonna say this publicly on the air. Randy McCharles and company, thank you for everything you've done for me. Honest, I appreciate it. So I'm gonna say that here right now. But no, it's a really good group of people. It's a fun. It was a fun. It's a I would tell it's a medium sized conference. It was designed to cap off a certain size, and it did a really good job of it.
Yeah, I need to
And
put it on my calendar for next year. That sounds great.
no, it's one of the most anybody that's been a guest there. Let's say this year we had Fonda Lee. Fonda Lee was there. We had Nicole. I am terrible for names today, folks. I'm so sorry. Right? We had Angela Ackerman, who was one of the guests of honor this year. You probably know who Angela is. And if you don't, you probably should. Right? Uh, but yeah, no, there was some really cool people there. It was kind of great. I was having fun this year. I was giving back. I didn't realize how far I'd come until I actually came back this year. That like, in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a freelancer. I'm almost to the point. Most months I make four figures as a freelancer.
Nice.
Most months, and at times I've skirted living wage. Like I've skirted it. So
Hey,
yes,
that's
yeah,
that's like the dream, right? Or for so
yeah.
many
So
people, it's the dream.
well, it requires a certain mindset to do it because you have to learn to be confident in yourself. Like ironically
Mm-hmm.
enough, like that is the big secret to it. It's not your skill set, it's your confidence in
I mean, that
your
is a skill set, I feel.
it
Like building your
is
confidence and talking to people and
talking to people is a skill. I think confidence. I don't know if skill's the right word. I think the right word for it is trait. You got to
Mm.
develop the trait. It's not a skill because there's no because
But
in
you
your
can
head.
build your confidence. You
No, no,
can,
no, and that's why I say it's
no.
a trait, not a skill, because it does have a degree of practice to it, but there's
Mm-hmm.
not a magical like path to becoming confident, right? There's no like actual manual to do. Like I feel like a skill, like if I'm learning a language, a skill like that, there are methods to it. There's a motivation, like confidence. What it really comes down to is you got to get to the point of putting yourself out there, going out of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is the real job, and that is your job as a freelancer is basically two things. You show up for the tasks you've agreed to do and do them, and you have the confidence to go get more.
Mm-hmm.
That that's that's the job, folks. It's that simple.
It's that simple and that complicated.
It's well, so I just say this: simple isn't easy.
That's a good point.
Yeah, simple isn't easy. Simple is you have a clear vision and direction. That doesn't, but the work is in walking that in that path,
Mm-hmm.
right? And yeah, I've kind of become a little bit of I might be a supervillain by the time I'm 50, complete with
Okay. I mean, it's good to have goals.
I might have an obnoxious red cape and a minion to carry it. I'm kind of going for the Spawn look because Spawn's cape is
Are you gonna have
ugly.
like an evil cat that you maniacally pet and
I
it
don't know if I'm gonna
purrs
have an evil
kind of
cat, but
maniacally?
I don't know if I need an evil cat. I think the line between full blown like jumping the shark is talking to yourself in the third person. Doctor Doom can do it. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Doom is the only character that can do it.
So you
Right?
might need that cat then.
Yeah. I might need the cat, or I might need a theme song. I don't know. I can get the audience to sing on cue, right? Because you
Or
need to get
just
the.
like ominous music plays in whatever room you enter.
Mhm. That's right. That's right. I think that works. Ominous
I do.
music and a obnoxious cape, I think is good enough.
Mm-hmm.
I draw the line at the mustache. I think a cat is just
That's
way
something to
too.
like twirl.
I draw the line there. Like I totally draw the line there. But that's me. That's me and how I see things.
I mean, you do your own villain, you know?
I
No
would be
one's
the
gonna
best
tell you
villain.
how to try to do
I'd
world
be the best.
domination.
Exactly. But I actually think like there are traits about like honestly a villain that are good. It's what they use them for that's what makes them villains. Like for example, villains have goals,
Mm-hmm.
confidence, they have charisma, usually,
Usually.
right? Right?
They're very
I mean,
motivated.
they're motivated, they're ambitious, and they are willing to more often than not, they are actually willing to do the work.
So
They
now I
might
want a story about like a slacker villain who's just half-assing it.
that yeah no that yeah absolutely like there are like you could totally do it like the slacker it's like I don't
Mm-hmm.
want his whole that's a con man. Most con men fall into that category. I don't want to do the work.
Or the minions, I guess.
Well, yeah, so the no the slacker minion with the evil maniacal boss. It basically it's a story about like the revolution of the worker, right? Evil maniacal dictator minion that doesn't just wants to basically have a drink and be left alone.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. No, world domination until finally the worker has had enough, and then they revolts against the villain, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, there you go. You have a story. We just came up with
Yeah,
a
there
story.
you go.
On there. So you write. You said you write novels. What else
Mm-hmm.
do you do? Other stuff.
I do. In addition to novels, I'm a playwright. So I co-wrote my first musical that went up at the Hollywood Fringe back in July.
Mm-hmm.
Or not July, June. Sorry. Still recovering. Summers are busy because I have the Hollywood Fringe Festival in June, and then I have Anime Expo and Comic Con in July. And we also had an extension run from our show in July as well. So like August rolls around and I'm barely
So,
standing.
we're both zombies
Kind
today.
of in the same boat. Yeah,
Yeah.
August is the time to recover.
Well, kind of. I gotta hurry. I told you my really good news off the air, so I gotta get that. I have to get that ready. That's gonna be my job tomorrow. Today is my recovery day, right?
Well,
This is
recovery days are good.
yeah. No, today's my recovery day. I because I woke up and was like I I have a podcast I'm supposed to put out for like an audio podcast I'm supposed to put out today. It has been on the same screen for 4 hours because
What?
I just like there's a screen to like upload the podcast onto my like platform.
Okay.
Right, I have to press a few. I have to write the description for the episode,
Oh,
which
you have to do all the metadata stuff.
yeah, metadata stuff.
Got it.
It's been 4 hours and I haven't done very much metadata, and it's just like
This podcast is about stuff. It's about me talking about
it's
stuff.
blah. Yeah, it's yeah. No, well, no, because it usually features guests. I'm trying to build a guest out, and it's a good guest,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I just can't. I've been trying all day, and I might have it when we're
Yeah,
done here.
sometimes you need to step away.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, that sometimes you do, and that today is that day, right? I'm stepping away. Like
Mm-hmm.
this was the only, like I said, this is the only thing I wanted to be for sure able to get
Well,
through
thank you.
because I said yes, and like I said, I try to keep my commitments. If I'm going to be in a
Same.
stickler, yeah, if I'm going to try to be a stickler about time with people, I kind of have to be the example I want to be, right? So
Yeah, can't just be a do what I say, not what I do.
yeah, because then what happens there is rightfully so they just want to beat me, and I can't fault them for that because I'd want to beat me too, right? I can't. Hold on a second here. There he goes. But I can't. Are we on the air here?
It
No, I'm
says it
still.
still says live.
Yeah, it's okay. It's weird. My button is weird and wonderful, and I don't know. I'm just also, folks. Like I said, I'm in a weird space. But yeah, it's important to keep your time.
That's
It's
okay.
important
We
to
could be
keep.
in a weird space together,
That's right. We are.
separately together in weird
Yes,
spaces.
that's right. But folks, I met Brandie actually at San Diego Comic Con. Right. I was a
Yep,
pleasant. I must have been a pleasant enough fellow because you agreed to actually come up here and deal with me. So
I
that's
did. You were
yeah.
delightful.
Yes. So plays. So what's your
Yes.
love? Is your more love more the theater or is love more literature? You had to. I'm not
I
asking you to choose
mm,
them because they're extensions, but I bet you
yeah.
started in one before you got into the other.
Well, because I started as an actor. When I was a
Okay.
kid, I loved acting. I auditioned for UCLA, and my undergrad is in theater. I found being an actor did not pay the bills for me, so I kind of went back to school. I got my MBA. I do entertainment marketing, but I still have a strong passion for the theater, and I'd actually try to make it out to the theater a lot. And initially, the idea of writing a full play never crossed my mind until one of the theater companies I was with was doing like a short play night.
Okay.
So like couldn't write a whole the idea of writing a whole play was insane, but I was like, yeah, I could write like a 5-minute scene. Um
That's
and
yeah.
that yeah,
That's how
and
it
then just being able
starts.
to see it come to life and see the actors like embody it really inspired me. Um and from there I started writing more plays. I have a play based on Oscar Wilde at the end of his life that went up at the Hollywood Fringe several years back.
Congrats.
Thank you. It started as a 10-minute scene, and the director really loved it, and we discussed, expanding it to an hour-long show, which is a great time for the Hollywood Fringe. So I did that, and that kind of inspired me to keep writing plays. I wrote the Gem and the Holograms parody musical is what I wrote that went up in June, called Truly Outrageous. And this has been 8 years in the making, on and off, because I don't know music, and obviously a Gem and the Holograms musical needs music. So it took a long time to find the right songwriter. I finally connected with our songwriter, and then COVID hit, and so this year it was finally the right time, and it was my
Okay.
first play I've ever produced as well, which is a heck of a lot of work. And
Yeah.
I also did all the props.
Something told me. See, inside, so when you talking about that whole getting a scene and watching it, when you said that, in my head, I heard the word director in my
Nope.
head.
I
No.
actually love the collaborating with other creative talented people. So I haven't directed anything I've written, because I want to get someone else's insight as well. Like the director
Sure.
for Truly Outrageous was phenomenal at like playing up all these moments.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like he really got out this great romance. There's like this awkward romance I have between Kimber and Stormer. Um, and so it was really great, having a bunch of creative, talented people all coming together to make this project.
Oh, absolutely. I actually think so. I think this is where theater and film have something in common. Like this is the biggest thing they have in common. It's an ensemble. No matter how you
Hmm.
look at it, that makes it all work.
Exactly.
Right?
And yeah, and when it comes to novel writing, I find the initial process is a lot more solitary,
Mm-hmm.
because it's me and my computer, and then the collaboration elements do come later if I start working with an editor, or when I worked with the publishing team for CamCat Books for this one with like discussing the cover art and discussing different marketing opportunities. So I
Yeah.
do like I do like working with an editor. My favorite kind of editors are ones who inspire changes to make the novel better as opposed to stating how things have to change.
I'm somewhere in the middle. I think I need someone to point out when my shit stinks. Right. And I'm okay if that's a little blunt because it's like
Mhm.
okay, right. I don't. Again, I think the best editors do realize a couple things, and that's one, you got to be happy. As I talk to that individual, like
Mhm.
the thing an author has to understand, especially when you're dealing with a publisher, is publishers do it the way they do it more often than not for a reason, either for the audience they're serving or they know the kind of book they want and they're paying for it. I mean, that's the other thing as well. They're paying for it. So you
Right.
as a professional, right? You as a professional, um, you kind of have to play into that a little bit. But where I want my editors to be cool is okay. Can we say it my way? Right? Can we say it my way? I
Yeah,
understand.
I think my favorite experiences are ones where
Yeah.
they've pointed out issues that they see, and a lot of times it kind of inspires me to make a stronger story,
Mm-hmm.
but also with the flexibility to know, they'll work with me when I think something's critical to the story. Like
Yeah.
in Goldspan, it's a Rumpelstiltskin retelling
Okay.
where the miller's daughter is a con artist because I wanted to give her more agency. I felt in the original she's so like, just kind of the king makes her do something her dad says she can. So I wanted to give her more agency. So if she's getting in trouble, it's her fault because she's the one telling people she can spin straw into gold. And the Rumpelstiltskin character is this mysterious fairy that has this sort of blood magic. And plot, plot, plot. Basically, he needs blood to do his magic. So there's this scene where she's in the tower and having to make all this gold. And at first my editor's like, I don't know, this is a bit intense. What if it was like tears or something? And for me that was one point where I had to say no, it's very important to me that it is intense and it is a bit dark because there needs to be a weight. There needs
Mm-hmm.
to be a real price to pay, and I'm building up this prejudice of the fear of the other. So it needs to be, here's the start of the tales that then get exaggerated, and here's part of the reason people fear the Fae in my book is because they're the other, and kind of dealing with that. And so I'm like, yeah, no, it needs the it needs this darkness here for a reason, not just to be, graphic and gory.
Yeah. Well, I think the best I think the thing is I compare YA in particular to horror. And I realize is it's basically the put it out. They're using the same piano. They're just doing it differently, right? YA needs a lot of light with just a
Mhm.
little bit of darkness, but really pronounced where it is to make it really pop. Horror is the opposite. It needs a lot of darkness, but just enough
Mhm.
light that you can
And then I've seen
see.
horror YA, and then
Well, horror. I mean, the grim. I mean, our original
yeah.
fairy tales are the grim fairy tales, right? They're YA horror.
Oh
Let's be
yeah.
good. So I
Not
mean,
just YA, they're kid. They're what they told kids,
yeah, no,
and those
exactly,
stories
right?
are dark.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's like, but that's the thing. Like the world can be a dark place. So that was why
Mhm.
the stories were as dark. Like, yeah, the world can
Yep.
be a dark place, and we want to make sure you know how to kind of
Yeah,
deal
and
with
don't run
things.
off into the woods and
Yeah,
don't
because we
stray
may,
from the path.
yeah, or you might not make it, and back then you might not have made it, and
Yeah.
that's just the way it is, right? Now, human beings being human beings, we all did stupid things as kids, and that's part
And
of the
hopefully you
process.
won't get eaten by a wolf from doing it.
Hopefully,
Hopefully.
hopefully. I could spontaneously combust tomorrow. I could get abducted by aliens tomorrow. I could, like,
Yep.
the world is a strange place, even under normal circumstances. Just try not to
Mhm.
be right. So
Yeah,
I guess
my nephew's gosh, he was probably 5 or 6 when the book came out and wanted to read the original Rumpelstiltskin, and his mom, my best friend, like, had to explain, like, how Rumpelstiltskin dies in the book is in, the original Grimm fairy tale is he basically gets so mad he splits himself in half. And, try to explain this to a kid that no, that's well, these stories are dark.
yeah. It's like,
Like, how
yeah.
is that possible? And he was like, well, it's not really that possible.
It's like, well, actually, at that point, it's like we don't know either. It's just how the
Yeah.
story goes, right? But
Hmm.
I mean, but it is what it is, right? I mean, those were the things, like, so I've always feel like YA and horror have a natural, like, they don't, they're almost like peanut butter and jelly. They do actually work very well together, right? They're different, but they're
Yep.
not that different. And I realized that it's like, oh, okay, I
Well, I
got you.
think with all stories, you need a certain element of light to break up the darkness, but at the same time, you also need those darker elements to, kind of keep the tension in the story.
Yeah.
We don't tend
Well,
to write stories about people who are happy all the time.
actually, seeing as that's so hard. Okay, there's a market for that. That's why Hallmark exists as
Well,
movies.
even the Hallmark one, they have their problems they have to overcome. Otherwise,
Sure.
there'd be
Oh,
no movie.
that's just it, right there. Sometimes with when you deal with, but I mean, it. There are people that want less tension in their stories. There's nothing wrong with that, but for the most part, I want my shit to be dark and devastating when like I want my heroine. So for me, it's either a really really daunting task, or it's incredibly silly. There's really nothing
See,
in the
I just
middle.
want I just want really morally gray characters. Those are my favorites. I want a morally gray villain. I want a morally gray hero.
Well, the thing is, I think I want a complex character. I don't necessarily. I'm not going to say morally gray or immorally gray, because it's really interesting if you can make a villain that's actually moral. It's
Hmm.
actually, it can be done, and it's a lot of fun.
Well,
Dicks.
I mean, the
Yeah.
morality, I mean, the morality kind of is the character's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
No villains generally don't think that they are immoral. They're moral according to their morals, which
Well, I
generally
think
are different than ours.
I just think I here's this is what I think. This is just my opinion. Okay, I think the absolute best characters, villains in particular, are right about something.
Well, you want something you can empathize with. It doesn't
No,
mean
no, no,
you agree with their
I,
whole
no,
their
no.
whole
You
shtick.
don't want to agree with the whole. No, you don't want to agree with their whole approach.
Yeah.
But but the thing is, I like it when the villain is actually right, at least a little bit, because at that point,
Hmm.
it forces a reevaluation for everybody. right? Because of
Yeah,
that, right? Because villains believe they're right,
of
right?
course. Yeah, I
So
mean, it
it's
makes for compelling. It's more compelling storytelling.
yeah.
It's like
Well, the,
the like. I honestly was never really into like the horror movies where the villain is just an evil serial killer just killing just because. Like for me, I always want more backstory. I want more
you want
reasoning.
you want a human being.
I do.
I don't again. I so what do you think? Okay, then I gotta ask this. This is I'm gonna pick a very particular villain here. What
Sure.
do you think? What do you think about the Joker?
The Joker. So I will say I am not up to date on
Just in
all
concept,
versions.
yeah, but just in concept. You don't have to be updated with all the versions. Or
Okay, so what I like about the Joker is in the same way that I kind of like I love the fact that in almost all mythologies you have that trickster character.
mm-hmm,
And I love the way that the trickster character really ranges the gambit from um, like harmless pranks all the way through. Like if you look at Loki
mm-hmm.
um, in that mythology, all the way over to like the Ragnarok and the end of the world. Um, so I don't know if that applies just as much to the Joker, but I love the way that they can have like levels of destruction.
Okay, so the reason I was gonna tell you why I brought the Joker up.
Okay, yeah.
So the Joker is not a morally great character. He is a very immoral character by design. But he what makes him interesting is and like he's not really by most people's standards I would define as a human being. He's more like
Mhm.
a natural disaster. He's a storm that comes in and wreaks havoc. Now again,
It's more of
sometimes
human versus nature almost.
absolutely not that like that's the thing, right? I look at so the reason I'm bringing this now back to some of the horror monsters, right? I think the important thing there, this is what all I've ever cared about with the horror monsters. I don't necessarily need to know where they come from because you don't know where the Joker comes from either, right? What's important for them is you know what they want. They
Yeah.
have to
I mean,
want.
I think that's the key of good storytelling is all characters, be it the hero, be it the villain, be it the side characters, especially sometimes the side characters. Everyone has their own motivation.
Oh, absolutely. But I think some stories, like some particular like some characters need certain parts of that more than others, right?
Oh
The
yeah,
horror
I mean,
mon,
you develop
yeah.
your protagonist and your antagonist. I feel you usually almost always develop them more than, some of the smaller side characters, but I think with good writing, all the characters should be developed. We see it
Oh,
to various levels.
yeah. They gotta feel like they're human beings. Like
Yeah.
that's the end. At the end of the day, right? They have to feel like they like if the show was over, would they be real?
Hmm.
Would they be real? I'm writing my current work in progress. I've worked on that very hard. I made my monsters villain a Backstreet Boys fan.
I love that. I love it.
I actually have a karaoke brawl in there. A
That's
karaoke.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I just recently rewatched Josie and the Pussycats
Okay.
movie. I wouldn't have come out like the 90s or something, and it was all about like big music trying to brainwash people through the like pop groups that they were creating, and it was just hilarious. And like the over the top ad placement specifically to satire ad placement was just
Uh,
delightfully fun.
it was oddly a little bit fortune telling too. A little bit, at least for the late '90s had that. It had a little bit of
I
that.
mean, I don't even think it was. I think maybe partly fortune telling, but I feel even more so is they were seeing it and satirizing it.
Oh yeah, no. If you
Yeah.
can turn it into show the world how absurd it really is,
Oh yeah, like
yeah, yeah.
the way that they had just the ads everywhere was, just so over the top. It definitely got into satire quite quickly, and it was a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
fun.
absolutely. So you like books, you do plays. I'm
Yes.
not going to ask you to choose.
I
The
will
reason,
say here, I won't necessarily choose, but I do see that I see myself as, you know, right now, more of my career is directed towards novels,
yeah, nothing wrong
but
with that.
I love the playwriting I do.
Yeah,
I don't know the path as much to playwriting other than self-producing stuff, which is expensive and exhausting, but delightful to see the final result. But like with novels, I kind of know at least the process.
yeah.
So I'm still figuring out the like play process.
No, I got it. Like, I think for, I think much like any other form of art, in
Mhm.
terms of like I'm strictly talking financial end here. It's the audience, right? That's what I think it
Mhm.
ultimately comes down to. That's, I think, is what opens your doors.
Yeah, I ran my first Kickstarter. Like I've supported other Kickstarters I was a part of, but this was the first time I really ran my own Kickstarter for the show and
Yeah.
learned a lot in that process.
Well, yeah,
Definitely
Kickstarter's a
things I would
monster.
have done differently.
Well, yeah, but it was your first campaign, right? Like
Mhm.
I have basically two, like I have like a 12 rules to success concept, right? But ultimately, what they're designed to do is this: that when the moment comes, you do the best you absolutely can with what you know at the time, and if you did that, then you
Yeah.
did as good. Then you did as good as you could, and really, that's all there is to it. Next time, you'll do it better,
Mhm.
right? How many birds do you have? Just the two,
I have
or
two. I have
you have
two.
two?
So Puck is the green yellow one, and he's like my buddy, and he's the most social. And then the blue one's Ariel, says I named them after Shakespearean fairies. And
Nice.
she's not nearly as friendly and much sassier. So occasionally she'll stop by, but then she'll like do her own thing.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
like Puck will hang out, and occasionally she'll get jealous and want to come over, but then she'll freak out and go back to her. We have like I have like a 5 foot cage for
Okay,
them. They're very spoiled. They have their living room cage, which is their weekend retreat because I'm not in my office during the weekend, so they come out to the living room.
and they take
They have
over
a whole
like yes.
table with like bird baths and playgrounds right over there. They're very spoiled little birds.
How old are they?
I think about almost 2.
Oh wow, so you're gonna
Yeah.
they're gonna get spoiled for a long time to come. You think?
Yeah, I got them as babies,
Yeah.
baby birds.
Your baby
So
birds.
I've been working with Puck to teach him to spin and to like do like touch training.
So Puck, huh? So Puck, my favorite Puck is actually from Gargoyles. Do you know
The
that?
cartoon?
Yeah.
Oh, I watched some of it, but it's been many years, so I don't. Who is Puck and Gargoyles?
Puck. They actually used Shakespearean Puck, but he's also Brent Spiner.
Oh, cool.
He was voiced by the Star Trek
That
Next
is cool.
Generation cast is all over that show. All
Nice.
over it. Jonathan Frakes is the villain. Marina Sirtis also has a villainous character in there. Michael Dorn shows up occasionally.
Wow.
No, no, like this is a Star, like you may not realize
Yeah.
it. It's a Star Trek show
Wow.
secretly, or not so secretly, depending on your point of view.
Subtly.
So there's,
It's a hidden gem.
well, yeah, yeah. If you know the Next Generation cast, a lot of like four of them went there on a regular
Hmm.
basis, right? Brent Spiner was the rarest one of them. Like, because Puck showed up as Puck only like a few times. He actually was in the show all along, but again, I'm not going to spoil it. If you haven't seen it, I
I
won't spoil it.
haven't. I mean, I need to check this out.
Yeah. So here, so fair warning. This is my fair warning. Stop at the Goliath Chronicles. Stop.
Okay.
Just stop. Just much, just much like there was only one Highlander movie. And that's what I'm gonna go by. There is no gargoyles after the Goliath Chronicles start in the
Okay. Good to
cartoons.
know.
Yeah. If you go past it, I'm gonna be like,
Told you
eh,
so.
I warned you. And then you'll come to me. It's like there is no show. You're right, and little tears. But
Excellent.
Marina Sirtis is a regular villain. Jonathan Frakes is the villain of the show for the first two seasons, right?
Nice.
And Michael Dorn
And
occasionally,
Puck is there.
and Puck is there, and Puck is Brent Spiner. And it's like,
Nice.
So yeah, and then Michael Dorn actually plays a character on there as well. Although Michael Dorn is the
Oh.
rarest of the four.
When did this, when was this? 90s?
94, 94.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So there you go, folks. Little known fact.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So outside of that, I'm finally catching up on my San Diego stuff. Now I've done both my conferences, and I've had Jessica on the show. Jessica was awesome.
Nice. Oh, yes. Yes, yes.
Yeah, so I've Jessica on the show. She was great.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I got into the graphic novels,
Mhm.
is through the two Cthulhu anthologies I'm a part of. So
Yeah. So you gonna do more comics, or you gonna stick
I
to
hope
the?
so. Um, I have the issue that I don't draw well. So, um,
Yeah. So okay. So I'll tell you what I'm doing. This is kind of like okay. For the last 3 years, I started drawing on the show, and I was terrified of sucking. And then I had this wonderful epiphany of, so what do I if I suck? Okay. I've been drawing with some really good people like Bill, like people in the industry, people in
wow.
animation.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Again, you go back through my long myriad of, like, once I hit the Twitch era, starting
Uh-huh.
the Twitch era, you'll see me drawing with illustrators like Bill Maws and Maud Park and Elsa Guerra Garza.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
yeah. And remember, I suck, but they don't care. And that's an important thing to remember about this is it's not about how good necessarily the art is, it's about, can you tell a story with it, right? That's the first thing. Second thing is, so I have a graphic, so I'm doing a retelling of Fahrenheit 451.
Oh, okay,
But
cool.
I'm doing it from the point of view of an illustration point of view. Instead of reading, it's pictures.
Oh, like you start burning photos and
No, 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 no,
oh wait.
no, no. I did it. The core elements I kept in the story was, my favorite thing in Fahrenheit 451 is the first 20 pages when Clarice asks Montag, "Are you happy?" And it's about the exploration. It's about the exploration of the human spirit. If you really sit there and think about what Bradbury was talking about, it's the human spirit being rediscovered through art, creating empathy. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He uses books because he loved. I mean, Bradbury loved books,
Yeah.
right? So
Yep.
I'm using illustrations.
Mm-hmm.
He's learning how, for reasons in the story. He's learning how to draw.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't have to draw well to do that,
Yeah. Well, what
right?
I found too though is that at least with the graphic novel anthologies, um, I was fortunate to partner up with someone with an amazing artist.
Oh, sure.
So because I was the writer and I wrote the script and then I basically did like stick figure drawings of like
Yeah.
what I imagined it looking, and then she made it look great.
Yes.
So I was like, roughly, kid here, pond here, monster here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, no, no. I mean, I mean, especially for time doing a comic book, it's a good idea to do that. But it's much like your plays, much like novels. It's all storytelling at the end of the day,
Hmm.
and it's like I said, I again, I'm one of those guys that goes out on a limb. Like I said, I don't.
Yeah, I actually did write a graphic novel script that I'm currently looking, there are a couple things in the works for it.
Good.
Nothing official yet, but I'm definitely someone who likes to try things that, especially like creative endeavors, there's a lot of times where I want to try it to see if I can do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, maybe this is a spoiler. Like, some of your plays, adapting them into comics and other mediums is also
yeah,
exciting.
that would be cool. Actually, the Psyche Arrows play, I
Yeah.
think actually could be a really fun one because it's like a modern but also fantasy rom-com take on it
Hmm.
with like Aphrodite being the, mother-in-law from hell.
Aphrodite being the mother-in-law, she's a good choice. She is a decent choice. I,
I mean, she so much is in that myth too.
well, Aphrodite well, she's either the mother-in-law of hell,
Hmm.
or she's just a bitch. She's just a bitch.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, kind of one and the same in this story,
Oh,
in this version of the telling.
yeah, yeah, I'm just saying, like it's usually one or the other, and you're like, God damn, why are
Yeah.
you like this? Right? You don't have to be like this, right? but that's Aphrodite. Aphrodite was always that way.
Yep.
Um, my favorite stuff in Greek was I love the story of Orpheus is a fun story, right? Right, I
Yeah,
like
I've seen
that.
some really interesting retellings. Have you seen Hadestown?
No, I have not.
It's gorgeous. Gorgeous newish musical that I got a chance to see last year, and the like it's so atmospheric.
Yeah,
Like listening to the music is nice, but like seeing the whole thing come together is just pretty incredible.
that sounds really fun. That
Mm.
sounds really really fun. So, like I said, yeah, I can see. Like I said, I think personally, with any idea you have, it's about taking it and seeing where it plays well best,
Hmm.
right? But also, it could play well in more than one places. Like my business slash publishing philosophy is, can I get people to play
It's a
wherever
good
I'm at?
philosophy.
Yeah, yeah, because that's what it's all about. I mentioned like the Carry On Wayward Son. So when Words Collide, where we talked about,
Hmm.
I would do a panel called a Dr. Seuss off. So I'd have
I
authors.
like that. I like
I, I
that.
I'll have authors reading Dr. Seuss. You have not lived until you've seen Fox and Socks read in a Valley Girl voice, or an operatic
I can
rendition of
see
Cat
that.
in the Hat. Right? Give
I can
people,
see that.
yeah. So give people a chance to play, and they will play with you.
I did one of our when I was part of a theater troupe, one of our one night we did like slam poetry where everyone takes lyrics to a song and reads it like a, like a slam poet.
Okay.
So we all dressed in black with our you know, most tortured souls. And I think the one I picked was Baby Got Back.
Hey, we got back. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I would do?
What?
YMCA.
Huh? I
YMCA.
like that.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. We're going to the YMCA.
MCA.
YMCA.
See?
Right?
There you
Yes.
go.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I do a creative workshop that I've given a few times that I did actually at Comic-Con not this year, but last year, about inspiring creativity through fairy tale mashups and
Yeah.
um, or through fairy tale retellings. And I give everyone a couple different exercises and they create their own fairy tales. And it's great to like just see the way that everyone has this creativity. And if you're not thinking about it too hard, it's a real easy way to just kind of spawn something new.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I did with Alice. I know Alice isn't
Yeah.
technically a fairy tale, but that's what I did. Right?
It's close, and I would count for this exercise. I would say it counts.
Most people would say it counts. Like, who doesn't want to say, wait, an Alice retell? I'm in. I'm
Yes.
in. Right? So,
Yep. That's actually what I'm currently working on querying right now. Is one
good luck.
a story set in Wonderland.
Th- Good luck.
Thank you.
I hope it works out for you. Like I said,
Thank you.
right. So, I mean, I'll be working on my next segment of that. Mine's a 3.5 book series.
Oh. So what is the half?
The first one, which was originally for the anthology, it got
Okay.
rejected for the anthology, but I released it on Amazon Kindle, and it got nominated for an Elgin Award for a chapbook in
Nice.
2021.
Oh, that's
So,
awesome. Congratulations.
yeah, I did that as an independent. It kind of made me rethink like all of publishing a little bit in a very different way.
Right.
Right. So this is gonna sound like, and then we'll wrap this bad boy up.
Yeah.
It sounds very weird, but the way I learned actually through doing Alice the right application to ego in this business. It sounds weird to say it like that.
It does. Mm,
No, let me
what do
explain.
you mean?
Yeah. So I don't care about prestige. I know that sounds like, and it's easy for me to say after all I've done what I've done, right? It's easy for me to say that, but but that I realized that I really shouldn't be interested in prestige. What I should be interested in is getting as many people I know to read it as possible.
Or
And
people you don't know to read it.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. And as many people to read it as I possibly can. And where I have the ego is to demand the best not only for the books, but for myself,
Hmm.
from anybody that does those things. Right? That's important. Ego is good at going after what you think you're worth. And I think ego is very healthy in that environment. You need a little bit of that edge. Now, once it's
Hmm.
done, once you have it, then you can put your ego away in a little bit of
Right.
a
Then you want to
right.
just get it out there to people.
Yeah, exactly. So that I realize that like I think maybe it might be the biggest trap I think artists fall into, going for the wrong kind of prestige is nice. I'm not gonna say it's a terrible thing to have. I can't, right? I can't honestly say that,
Hmm.
but I also think that shouldn't be the goal, right? I think the goal should
Yeah.
be
Getting the story out there.
getting the story out there to the audience that wants it the
Hmm.
most. That's it. That is the real. Nothing else really matters, right? Right. I don't need to hit a bestseller list. I don't need to win an award for it. I don't need to be nominated for an award. Like I don't like those are nice. That's a cool
Side benefit.
but yeah, I want to tell the best story I can to the
I hear
people that
you.
want to read it, and I want to be somewhat paid well to do it. And that's
That's
where
the
my
goal.
and that I was working on it again. It's applying your ego in the right spots.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
that does make sense. That the description makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. That's what that
I needed the
ironically.
follow up, and now that I
Yeah, yeah.
have the
You're
follow
like,
up.
wait. It's like, wait a minute. What do you
Yeah.
mean by that? It's like, wait, no, that actually makes totally perfect
Hmm.
sense. But getting nominated for that award, that's what that taught me. I realized like I'm happy, but I want more people to read it, and
Yes.
that's
Yeah. I think I've always wanted, whether I'm writing novels or plays or graphic novels or acting, it's for me the real love of it comes to being a storyteller and
yeah.
want
And you
someone
want
to
to,
tell the stories too.
yeah, yeah,
Here are my stories. Enjoy them, please.
yeah, exactly. So
Hmm.
okay, so I'm gonna ask this. Okay, you got into the anthology. Are you? Is the anthology you got your books? Is it on Kickstarter right now, or did it just finish?
No, they were on Kickstarter.
Okay,
They no longer are. I do think I have links to them on my website.
okay,
Um,
cool. Okay, so then, so you got how many books out right now?
so I have the two novels, Goldspun and Curse Undone. It's a duology, so it's the Rumpelstiltskin retelling.
Okay.
And then I have the two graphic novels, Cthulhu is Hard to Spell, parts two and parts
Yes.
three.
Yes.
Um,
Russell's
yes.
anthology, which
So
I think is
basically, all of my work is up on my website.
yeah. He gave me the nicest compliment actually. Just so like he says, you have the best podcast name I've ever seen. Right?
Excellent.
Just Josh. He said just Josh.
Yeah,
He
I
gave
Russell's great. I loved working with him. He's a very
no
cool guy.
professionally. Like I said,
Hmm.
he might be the most put together person I've ever seen. Like it's just like incredible, like legitimately. I feel bad because the day, like my Sunday, like when I was filming the show, doing the show stuff, I lost my Sunday. Like all because I screwed up with my camera. Like that was
Oh
me, all me.
no,
No, no, no, no, no,
I hate it
no,
when that happens.
no. But that's why that was the other reason I went. Like San Diego was such a good experience for me. It was
Hmm.
learning, but I still feel terrible because one of the two interviews I lost was Russell's, and
Oh,
it killed me. I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me, right?
oh,
But
that's oh,
because I was going to put it up like literally the week I came back because he had a Kickstarter going and I wanted to do my part and he was so gracious enough to actually do an interview with me, and I went to go put it up and I'm like, where I go, okay, got all this, that's
oh
great.
no.
Yeah, no, like that so I lost him and I lost one of a comic book guy from the CEO Alex. I want to say Rodriguez, but I could be wrong because I'm very tired and I'm
Of
very
what comic
uh
company?
committed comics.
Okay. Oh,
That does I don't know Alex. So in one sense, they're polar opposites too. Russell's so intense, like if because he's so passionate about what he does.
Yes.
Alex isn't like passionate about what he does, but he's got kind of like that level, like like he's so chill about it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when I was there, like he had the sign. It's okay to make eye contact. He was doing like a little shimmy when he went by his aisle. So the first time I saw him, it was like you got to do a dance move because he's already doing like a halfway shimmy. It's like you're already halfway
Right.
there,
It's a
halfway there.
small step.
Right. And he acknowledged the small. He's like, I don't know if I can do it. So I would sneak up. I would sneak up on him every day,
Mm-hmm.
and I would actually try to perform a dance move.
Nice.
Sometimes I get the can one day. It's not behind the da 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 da
Da,
da.
da, da.
Yeah, then the second day he caught me. We just
Uh-huh.
broke down laughing. Then the third day I slipped behind him, come out, and I do like the Russian dance, like da 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 da.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah. He looked at me just broke. I broke him, but like such a good dude. And I like both of those interviews. I'm like, oh, you gotta be fucking shitting me. I want right.
Are you able to
Right.
reschedule?
I haven't
Maybe?
got. I would love to do Russell. Okay, Russell on Russell personally, he has his up days and his down days. So if he feels like it, he'll come back. If he doesn't, he won't. And I know that is about him.
Hmm.
I've accepted it. Alex, I'm still trying to get a hold of, but I I made a good friend. Like honestly, with Alex, I made a really good friend.
And that's really the key to
that's the key.
the
That
business
is actually one.
it's making friends. It's
Well, no, I think see a lot of people think networking is a terrible thing. The secret to it, here's the secret.
make
Me and you
friends.
have literally talked for like literally over an hour,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
And well, hour and a bit now, right? Hour and a bit. I haven't asked you for anything. I haven't tried to exploit you for ill intentions or gains. I'm just,
Yeah,
we're
we
having
saved
a,
the exploiting to the end.
yeah, exactly. Totally. But here's the thing. Let's say when this podcast is over, I go to you, hey, this was cool. I had this idea. What do you think? And I do it like that. There's no pressure on you. You can
Exactly.
say no, or you can say that's fucking cool. I'll try it, and you'd be more inclined to because we've had this conversation.
Yeah, it is it's very much about you want to make friends.
Yeah,
These are human these are other humans too, not just a they're not just a bridge for you or a
yeah,
path.
yeah. And that's the real secret, folks. You have to be genuine with how you reach people. If you're genuine about that, then you can actually do the really cool stuff. Right? You try to do all that other stuff up front. Hi, I don't give a shit about you as a human being.
Yeah.
Eventually,
People want to help friends. They don't want to feel used.
that's exactly it. That's
Hmm.
exactly it. Otherwise, and then
Yeah.
what happens? You hear people nod at you, and then they give you the bird, right? And
Hmm.
then you right.
The
Right.
bird.
Yes, that bird right there. It's his
He's
world.
sassy.
Yes, it's his world. So you got two books out right now.
Yep.
You
2 books
got
out.
third one you're querying. Okay, the last question, then we'll wrap this up.
Sure.
And no, because we've. I'm not going to go back into the publishing rights things. We all didn't really want to talk about it on the air. I can tell, but you've been traditionally published.
Yes.
You've done a little dabbling in Kickstarter. I consider Kickstarter and indie to be slightly different, personally, right? Because I think they're just different audiences per se, right? Right, there's some
Hmm.
crossover, but I think the audience expectations are different with both.
Yeah, I feel
So
like the Kickstarter audience likes to have more you get to be kind of like an insider. It's like an early adapter. It's
yeah, exactly,
they want to know, I
exactly,
want to provide the updates and make it feel more personalized.
absolutely. Whereas indie, and there's not again, there's no, as we said earlier, there's really no wrong approach to this. They more like you're self-directed, right? Not so much you're doing it yourself. That's the biggest misnomer about indie publishing, right? But that's your self-directed with where you're going with it. So my question is, would you do, because it's not that much different than writing a play, at least in terms of concept. Are you going to dabble with indie publishing at some point?
Okay, so I think we need to specify terms because these 2 books were traditionally published with an independent publisher. They weren't one of the big 5. So are you saying
Well,
an
see,
indie
I
publisher, or are you referring to like self-publishing?
self-publishing.
Um, I'm not looking to do that right now.
Okay.
I did actually try a couple novellas that I self-published under a pseudonym. Um, and I kind of found that even that I personally preferred having the extra support of a publisher. Um,
Yeah.
just because I only have so many hours in a day right now, and so having someone else who's also going to be invested in this project, um, even though I'm also doing a lot of the support, I'm still doing a lot. I do a lot of
Okay.
marketing, even when it's traditionally published. I'm still putting myself out there a lot, but I like having their support as well.
So I think I figured out something about you. We'll see if I'm right about this.
Okay.
All right. You like the idea of working in a team creatively. I think more, maybe even more than most because of your theater background. You like the idea of being in some kind of ensemble somehow.
So,
So
well, sort of. Okay, this may sound I don't know how this will sound. I like creating a story and then having an ensemble help me bring it to life. Like
yeah. Okay. No. No.
I
No.
I
That
want to
sure.
be the one writing the story, whether it's a novel or a play, but then I do like other
No, it's
creative
fair.
minds and other, not just creative, but other logistical minds and other people
You
helping bring it to life.
you like having your work interpreted. You enjoy that a lot.
I think that kind of, yes. Like I
Yeah.
do love that for theater.
Yeah.
I know with the novels it's more,
It's a little different because novels are a little different,
yeah. So
but it's
I guess I
not.
have more creative control of the story in a novel.
Yeah, but it's not completely out of the realm either, right?
Yeah,
Like
but I'm
what I'm
still
saying.
working with editors
Yeah,
and,
and you're working with people that you. Okay, I think I got the full detail here. You like working with other professional people to interpret your work. The thing about the end, and this is just me, just maybe just more of a risk assessment thing also between us. The thing about the rig risk with indie publishing is you find people that you don't know what you're doing. I somehow feel
When you
you
say
don't.
indie, you're referring to self-publishing,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Cool,
I
cool.
call it indie because it's very much I think one of the other differences, I don't consider if you're not in the big five, if you're a publishing house, I consider you a publishing house. I think it's just something that just personally we just say
Yeah, I
like,
mean, I consider myself traditionally published.
yeah,
My
exactly,
publisher
yeah,
was not part of the big five, but they are a
yeah,
publisher.
they're a
And they
publisher,
did,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I don't consider that necessarily indie. I don't get me
sure.
wrong, right, right. I don't. So that's I think that's the thing
Yeah, I
is
think
that
that's fine. I think just like
yeah,
clarifying terms so we all know what we're talking. We're
right, yeah,
talking
yeah,
about the
yeah.
same
So yeah,
thing.
so when I say indie, when I mean indie, it's mean what I mean by that is completely self-directed, right?
Hmm.
The thing about taking that is you have to kind of find the right people, right? And that can be daunting because, okay, I might sound like I know what I'm talking about, but I can be an incompetent son of a bitch. You don't know me, right? You don't know me that well. I mean, we've had a good conversation for an hour, but that doesn't
Yeah, we
necessarily
have an
mean
hour and a half.
hour and a half, right? Right, 90 minutes, but right. So, but I mean, we've had a good conversation, but it doesn't mean you're gonna trust me with something you've put together. But someone that has a bit of a track record and has a good
Right.
an imagination, you
Hmm.
like that. You like that.
Yeah. Like
I think that's is that fair?
I think so, yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like creating the story and then collaborating on ways to bring it to life.
Yes.
I
And
think it
there's
is
nothing
the
wrong
most
with that.
accurate way to
Yeah.
say it.
Yeah. And but you want
Hmm.
to trust the people that you're collaborating with. I
Yes,
think
because these
that's the thing.
stories are very,
Yeah.
as anyone who's written a novel or written anything really, you spend a lot of time with it. It's your story, it's your baby. They're almost always very personal to me. So,
Well, they
you
should
know,
be just they are from you, right? So
yeah.
no, it makes a lot of sense, right? I just like that, like because again, and folks, if you're watching or listening to this, the thing about this is, um, you have to understand that everybody wants something different from this industry,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, I would say
And
there's no, you know, indie versus traditional publishing, one is not the correct answer for everything and
Yeah,
everyone.
or hell, one might not be the only answer for it either.
Oh
And the
yeah,
same way,
I have several, wonderfully talented creative author friends who do both. They have some things that they self-publish and the other things that they traditionally publish,
exactly.
you know.
So all of which to say is that's what you want to get out of it, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just
Hmm.
I only basically have one. I this is what I do is I listen to I want to do if I hear a I want to do this and I hear a but after it, I try to eliminate that but. Just get to the I just
Hmm.
want to do it.
I just
And
want.
that's yeah, I just want because again,
Hmm.
once you have that, you have the clarity to do what you're gonna do, right? So no, I understand where you're coming from. So, huh. It's going to be interesting to see. We're not going into great details because we talked about this off the air. I don't even want to talk about this on where publishing is going to be in a few years and the
Yeah,
places that will be as a result. That all said, I think we have an interview here. What do you think?
I think so. I think
This was
so.
fun.
What do you think, Buck?
Yeah, yeah. So this was Puck's World, and we are all in it. And you
Yeah,
just
it's
gave your
Puck's
first
world, and we
thumbnail.
just live in it.
Yeah, we just live in it. You should promote something though. Like, so you gotta promote something here, like in
Okay.
full. Yeah.
So I have this the Goldspun duology is out now pretty much where you buy books. If you go to brandiejune.com, it has all my books, all of my appearances. Um, I did a book signing at Comic Con, so any of the appearances I have will be on my site as well. I have a great newsletter I put out once a week, and it always has fun stuff like giveaways and crafts. I'm big into a craft section at the end.
If I I'm gonna ask and then I'm gonna ask one last question then. So if I did when I do take this show on the road, I run into you again. Want to do this in person sometime?
Definitely, 100%.
All right.
Plus, I want to go to your writing conferences, so maybe we'll meet up there
Yeah,
sometime.
we'll finish talking off, dear. We'll
Exactly.
tell you some stuff here. But for folks, that will do it for this episode of Just Joshing. I will be back tomorrow with David Whelan's coming back. And we're just going to talk about his newest release, and that'll be that. And then Thursday, I think it's Thursday, I have another guest coming on the show. Yeah, it's Thursday. I can't remember who it is right now because I am exhausted, and that's just the way it is. And I'm sorry, it's the post when words collide. So
It's just
I'll
Puck's world.
it's Puck's world, and we all live in it. So for everybody watching, everybody listening, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. And I'll see you guys next time.